Hello, good to have you on the program today. And of course, it is the economy today. And so this day, like every other day, we want to look at the things that concern our economy and how those things affect us, and to ensure that we have a better life ahead of us on a constant note. We normally come to give you news bits. We also come to give you the news. We try to bring previews and reviews. We also talk about interviews and all put together on the program. And so we have some of such things on the program this day. So do stay and be part of it. By the way, I am Okechukwu Onubogu. And of course, I won't be working alone today, but I'll let you know who my guest is as we go on. He is someone that has been part of this program for a long while, and though he's not been here for a while, but then he's here today. And so it's a pleasure to have him. But before I introduce my guest, I want to take the stock stories and all that, and then before we return, and then you get to see my guest. Yes, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has come up this way, and in the All Shares Index, you can see for yourself that there is a 0.48% increase. 0.48% increase. If as it's coming up, you see what we also have, and we also have the value traded at 13.37 billion. That's the value traded, and then the volume is 474 million, while market capital is 65.5 trillion. Just let us keep having this Nigeria Stock Exchange page here for a while, because I want to say something about all that before we get to the remaining parts of it. We hear that last week, the Naira lost strength marginally by 0.02% week on week against the dollar to close the week on 1,501 Naira 61 kobo per dollar at the official NAFEM window, while at the parallel market, it was a flattish close from penultimate week at 1,575 Naira per liter. Sorry, per dollar. I'm not talking about fuel now. This is money. Then data from the CBN showed that Bonnie Light, when we go there, I'll talk about that, but let me dive on. This is the one I just want to bring forth to you. And in this same just concluded week, overnight, Nigeria Interbank offered rate, that is NIBOR, that's what they are called, offered rate increased by 4.14% percentage points week on week to 32.64% on the back of liquidity thinning, even as system liquidity stayed on a negative zone, while banks with liquidity seek higher returns from those seeking liquidity for their funding operations. Specifically, NIBOR for 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months maturities decreased 26.46%, 27.45%, and 28.41% respectively, following the 25 billion naira worth of open market operation, that is OMO bills. Sometimes they call it OMO bills. And also, dealers from Cowry Assets Management Limited said the Nigeria Interbank Treasury True Yield (NITI) said tanked for majority of the tenor buckets, except for the 1 month, which increased to 21.33%, while the 3.6 and then 12 months tenor settled at 20.64%, 21.46%, and 23.86% in that order, even as investors tilt focus on the NT bills, that is National Treasury bills, primary market successions. Okay, let's look at the next one from the stock exchange. yes, the top gainers. We have the Academy at 9.93%, and the gain is 0.27, and the Cadbury made the positive. All of them, of course, are gainers, so they are all gainers. So there is 2.65 gain. Then the percentage is 9.93. For Etana, it is 3.30, and then the percentage gain is 9.90%. Livestock, well, let's talk about livestock today. Livestock has 0.52 and 9.95% gain as well. That's it. Then before we go to the losers, I want to say that okay, let's just take the losers. Let's look at the losers. Do we have them there? Yeah, top decliners. There is the Multiverse, there is the Mercury, there is NPFM CBFBK. That is to say, it's talking about Nigeria Police Financial Institution. That's that NPF MCBFBK. Then we have the Milan Africa. For the Nigeria Police, well, let's start from the Multiverse. It's 9.95% decline, and 1.00 is the point at which they lost. And Mercury was 0.35 with 9.71%, while Nigeria Police Bank has 0. Federal Mortgage Bank, Nigeria Police Mortgage Bank is 0.15, 7.94%. It's not really because Nigeria Police Microfinance Credit Bank. So let me say the right way it is. And then North Africa have 0.20, while percentage-wise it's 4.44% decline. That's what we have from there. And now we also check the active traders: Zenith, QTix, and Access Bank. That is Access Corporation, Access Bank, Access Holdings, Zenith Bank, QTix PLC, so QTix Holdings too. For Zenith Bank, it is 108.7 million. That's what they put into the stock market. And QTix put in 24.3 million, while Access Corp put in 23.6 million. All of that is what happened on the stock exchange, and what we'll still expect to see more of these as the days go by. But I want to say before this one is moved from the side of the viewer, that a lot will still be happening on these trades because we've been told that as a result of bank recapitalization, the stock prices may plummet, and that is in February. And of course, we're in February. This is the 10th day in February. So we're looking to see how it will go, because we've been told that Nigeria's stock market is bracing for a potential downturn in February as the financial derivatives company FDC predicts a decline in stock prices due to the activities around banks and bank recapitalization. According to the FDC, that is the financial derivatives company, the introduction of new shares by banks to meet the Central Bank of Nigeria's recapitalization requirements, that is to say, let me just talk about that recapitalization as this thing still stays there, just to add more money to make sure they have much more money in their kitty as what they have to do their transactions. And so to meet that recapitalization is part of the requirement that will lead to an increase in supply, causing stock prices to fall. The forecast has sparked concerns among investors who are now anxiously awaiting the market's performance in the coming weeks of this same February that we are in. I know, of course, it will get into the early week of March. Stock prices will fall in February to reflect the new shares of bank recapitalization. The FDC stated it in its latest Lagos Business School LBS breakfast session with Bismarck Rewani as the FDC think tank. Similarly, there was no new equity offers in the market last week However, analysts noted ongoing offers such as the Zenith Bank PLC offer, which comprised a rights issue of 5 billion or 200 and over 5 billion ordinary shares at 36 naira per share, and the public offer of over 2 billion ordinary shares at 36 naira 50 kobo per share. The public offers recorded a 160.47% subscription rate, with over 4 billion shares allotted following the offer terms and the Central Bank of Nigeria's capital verification exercise. In addition, Mumma Bank plans to raise 200 billion, that's billion naira, in fresh capital through a rights issue and the special placement exercise set to commence on the 1st of April 2025. So as I said, it will come into February, but then we see a bit of it in early March. And now what this bank is trying to do is that it's also doing something in April. This marks the second and final tranche of its capital raising initiative, complementing the 40 billion naira raised in the first tranche. Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC announced the commencement of the rights issue of 148.7 billion, scheduled to close on Friday, February 21. The group offered existing shareholders over 2 billion ordinary shares and 50 kobo each at 50 naira 50 kobo per share, based on 5 issue shares for every 22 ordinary shares held as of October 29, 2024. These developments highlight the continued capitalizing activities, capital raising activities, better still, within the financial sector, as banks position themselves for growth and regulatory compliance despite concerns over short-term price declines. Analysts believe that the recapitalization process will ultimately strengthen the banking sector, improve liquidity, and enhance long-term investor confidence. These are all part of it. Market watchers are now keenly observing how the influx of new shares will impact overall market performance and whether demand will absorb the increased supply. Investors, on the other hand, are advised to adopt a cautious approach, carefully evaluating opportunities amid the ongoing recapitalization exercise, or the recapitalization wave, as it may be called. And we will now look at the oil market. I think that's the next thing we need to see. Yes, the oil market. The West Texas intermediate crude is at $71. That's 71.5. That's $71.51 right now, and it's an improvement of 51 cents really, and so it is at 0.72%. And Brent crude is at $75.20. Is 0.54. That's 54 cents increase. That's what they have done. And talking about the percentages, 0.72%. The northern crude is 77.84. That's that one from Libya. And then we have 0.55 cents increase. That is, and of course, looking at it, it's $77.84. And the percentage is 0.71%. While our Bonnie Light, I'm still going to talk about Bonnie Light a bit, is 78.62. So let me talk a bit about Bonnie Light with this on here. Bonnie Light has always remained constant for a while. Sometimes it comes, and that is Nigeria's own oil. Whenever it comes this way, it can stay there for maybe 2 months, 3 months, even in some cases 6 months. And this is because of the fact that they just place a rate and let it be at that for a long time. That is why I said I want to talk about that one a while, talking about the Bonnie Light. Well, we're looking at it and seeing what will happen to it. It's 78.62 that has been looked at, but then there is still other stories about the Bonnie Light that we're looking at to see how much has come up or how much it will go up before everything goes down. Well, we're looking at the increased level and hoping that something better will come. For the Bonnie Light, okay, I'll just let it be at that for now. but I'll still get it and still share it with you on this program, because it's important that we share all these so as to help us know our operation effectively. Right now, we will now go into the other things we have to do today, and that's talking about our discussion. And of course, I've got my guest. My guest that is here with me is Richard Oriri. Richard Oriri is, in the first place, I want to say he's a journalist. He's my colleague. And then also he is a public affairs analyst, and he knows how to handle some of these matters the way they are coming up. And if you look at the topic of our program for today, it's not even be showing you. Please let them see the topic for the day. If you look at the topic for the day, you understand. What we want to talk about is the economic trends in 2025. Vic, can we look at the title, the topic for today, the economic trends in 2025, and then we'll talk about the story so far. If we talk about it, if we look at these trends, Oriri will help us. He will talk about these trends and the story, the way he has felt it, and the way we are seeing it in the country. So let me say welcome to you, Richard Oriri.
It's my pleasure, sir.
It's a pleasure having you, sir, on the program. And of course, looking at it, looking at the way it is, and looking at the topic, as we're saying, trends in 2025, economic trends. How do you see the things that are happening or coming up? How do you see them? Because they are coming in different ways, like sustaining price and monetary stability is one that then the CBN is just talking about now. And we know about the IMF saying something about Nigeria's declining GDP per capita, and they're saying that it is not good for us, so that it is signaling that our prosperity is shrinking. Do you think as prosperity is really shrinking? How do you even find out about these things? Looking at the market trends, the way it is today, that when one went to the market and got yam, got a tuber of yam is like a medium-sized tuber of yam for maybe say 1,000 naira, and then he goes back to the same market a week afterwards, and that same medium-sized tuber of yam is 1,002, and it comes again, it's 1,003. Instead of coming down, it's still rising. This is one of the things that have to do in the trends, and that's what the IMF is looking at and saying, if you continue in these trends, it means that a lot will be happening, and your GDP per capita is coming down, and it's going to affect you. What do you think about this, sir?
I can say I am laughing over what IMF is saying.
Yes.
Because, and the reason I said I am laughing over what they are saying is that if the GDP per capita of Nigerians is dropping down, who is the architect of this GDP dropping down? Is it not IMF?
Okay.
Is it not World Bank? Is it not the Western policy? They are the cause of our problem. And the GDP will come down because the economic policies that they have directed our leaders to implement,
yes,
they are not favorable to us. Now, instead of foreign direct investment to come into the country, the ones we have before are living. And as they are living the same way, the employment rate is equally dropping down, because the ones going, they are laying off their staff.
Yes.
And those ones they are laying off, they are now unemployed. And once that is happening, there is no how GDP will not fall. And who is making this to happen to us? Is the same IMF. That when they are to give loan to our leaders,
yes,
they will attach conditions to it. Like the other time, sometime last year, Nigeria was to borrow $500 billion or so from World Bank. What did they ask them to do? They said they will channel it to buying meters. Meters for every house in Nigeria. And this meter that they are going to, that they have given them the condition to buy, will be sold to Nigeria from the West. Meaning the money they are giving you is going back to them.
Yes.
And this meter you have to give to these households, not that the meter will bring out any income directly to the government. You are giving them with your left hand and you are taking it with your right hand. They will not ask them to say, this money we are giving to you, use it to revamp your education system. Use it to ensure that your research institutions are working effectively well, so that there will be development. Use it to ensure that companies come to Nigeria to produce. The same West that are against us, they are the ones now saying that other countries like China selling products to them, that they should come to their country and produce. That they don't want the idea of them bringing this product to them.
To them, yes.
If you are bringing, this is the tax you pay, 50%.
Very high tax.
And if you are coming to produce in our country, you have a tax holiday.
Exactly.
You understand?
In fact, let me just in addition to what you're saying, I remember some years back, I think it's about 6 years ago, that a little beyond 6 years ago, because then most of the companies in America stopped production because they started going to China to produce their products and then bring them into the country because it was easier. It became easier for them. And at a stage, it's 7 to 8 years ago, yes. Then at a stage, they found out that all the laborers, all the people that should do the labor in these companies had become jobless, and most of their manufacturing companies were going comatose. So they had to say no. That's why they started talking about, if you are bringing any product from China into America, 50% is what you pay. So they now saw that it's more difficult to bring these things from outside. So let's come back and start producing. But in our own case, just as you've mentioned, nobody is disturbing anybody when you're bringing in things. It's almost free of charge. How then can we get better? You understand?
Yes.
How then can we get better? Looking at the GDP that they talked about, GDP per capita, they said it has dropped to $835 49 cents in 2025. That's why it has dropped. So now $835. So it means that before it was talking about $100, but now it's not $835. $1,000 rather. Now it's $835 per 49 cents. So they are just really trying to hit us down and bring us further down. That you see that what we do in our country will no longer have enough. Because you think of what to eat first, how to get something for yourself before anything else, and our money keeps going down. Though I heard a few days ago, for some time now, not a few days ago, it has almost come to stay stable at between 150 naira to 160. So between 1,500 naira to 1,600. But I don't know whether that one is what we call stability.
It will be difficult for the naira to be stable. It will be difficult for the naira to be stable. Why it will be difficult for the naira to be stable is because once this importation of goods into the country continues, there is no, and most of these goods they are bringing into the country, they are buying them in dollars. It's dollar that they use in trading, and now Trump has come to even hit it more harder on this some African countries and some of these countries within the Middle East. Like these BRICS nations that were trying to see how they will revive the African economy, at least reducing their patronage on the dollar, then coming up with their own currency. But Trump has come to hitting them hard on that again, because this idea of America, say this doctrine of manifest destiny of America, that to them God has destined them to be superior, to be the giant and the most powerful country in the world, that they are the dominating country all over the world. That is what they are doing. They want in America, their ideology and their foreign policy arrangement is one country must lose for them to be great.
Yes,
And they are not playing over it at all. See now, Trump is saying that Gaza should be taken over by America, so that the citizens of Palestine will be distributed to some people will be taken to Syria, some Egypt, and some of those other countries within that region. That they are taking over that place. If you go to UK, they say they are taking some part of that side too. So now Trump and their focus majorly is Africa, Nigeria to be specific. Another scramble for Africa, because for raw material is what is on now. The new world order now is another scramble for Africa. And the industrialization Trump is talking about, where would I get the resources from? The raw material
it's from Africa.
It's from Africa. And their policies, the policies that they are giving to our leaders to implement, they are not favorable to us. Now you cannot industrialize what you do, because you don't channel your resources into public enterprise. Rather, the ones you have to sell them off. That is a Washington consensus policy, economic policy, and you must not privatize. You must not subsidize. There will be no subsidy, and if there is no subsidy, how will the citizen feel? And now you look at tax reform. This tax policy is Washington consensus policy. And once the tax is high, there is no how the little industries are available. We work well, and at the end you see them folding up. And as they are folding up, our employment opportunity will be reduced. There will be no employment because they have to lay off staff to enable them keep on with their business. And now even our government as well, they are not. The target is just how to gather these funds. Now Custom has increased their own tariff. These other import and export and something duty, they have increased their own to 15%. All those ones now importation, meaning our attention is only on importation of goods and possibly services, because most of our people, they go out of this country to take to have a medical service, and it's our money that is going there. And instead they will use that to even increase the capital base of the country by ensuring that companies spring up all over the country and give employment. There's no employment opportunity. Rather, there's serious capital flight. Now, some of our citizens that we are educating, you give them education as medical doctors. Before you know it, they have gone out of this country, going to render services to this Western nation, making our whole economy to be dying down. So this GDP that they are talking, they are the cause of it. They are the cause of it, but until our leaders look inward to see how they will place the interests of our country and nations far above itself first, above themselves, before we can stand well. But as it is now, that they are not looking towards that direction, the only thing they are looking at is how to rely on these Western countries for AIDS. You look at now the withdrawal of HIV/AIDS. The withdrawal of HIV/AIDS has sent serious shock to some African countries, especially South Africa. If you see condom now in South Africa, the price has gone up very high. Because if you dare not have sex with condom and you contact HIV, you have to pay daily. You have to buy the drug by yourself. You have to buy the drug by yourself. The best thing now is to protect yourself. And in the process of protection, you must buy condom. And in buying condom, the price has gone up. So everything is changing in Nigeria. Like the other day, the president have ordered the release of about 4.5 billion naira to the Ministry of Health to enable them acquire more HIV drugs to supplement what Trump policy is doing to Nigeria. So a lot is going on across, and until we think inward to see how our economy will change from the level we are now, I think it's difficult.
Yes, it will definitely be difficult if nothing is done. Looking at that GDP per capita talk again, you see, Nigeria seems to be amongst the least in Africa. In actual fact, talking about 8 really, because Nigeria has fallen into that cadre of the list that is between $500 and $2,500 per day. You know, this is the kind of thing that is happening to Nigeria. And let me mention that of other countries, that the way we have it. In Africa, if you look at the comparative data for 2025, it has placed South Africa at the highest. And South Africa is $6,517. Morocco is second with $4,470. Tunisia is third with $4,394, while Egypt is at the fifth one with $3,160, while Ghana is the sixth at $2,189. That is talking about GDP per capita. Then Kenya has $2,186. These figures indicate that Nigeria is among the least economically prosperous nations in sub-Saharan Africa. Right, we have fallen to that last cadre of between $500 to $2,500 dollar, and it's quite a shame that Nigeria, that is being referred to as the giant of Africa, is now among the least when you come to talk about the per capita income in Africa. It's a big shame. I hope that they are not trying to take us back to the things that happened immediately after the COVID, immediately after the COVID. I hope they are not trying to, with their own calculations, return us to that position, talking about inflation, talking about Nigeria being a totally backward nation, because that's what we were until things started happening, and with AIDS and all, we started getting better and trying to come out of that situation. I pray, because the way I'm seeing the issue there basically is about institutions, weak institutions, and leadership, because the underdeveloped countries of the world that we know, that is the global south. Yes. The global south, even China is part of the global south. Countries that are underdeveloped. Yes. China is part of the global south. Even Russia is not part of the global south. India, part of the global south. But as it is now, they have refused to be underdeveloped countries. Yeah, moving up. Because they have good leaders who think far above their personal interests, but the national value, national interest of the country. But in our own area here, what will make us, will impoverish us, is what we do most. And now, in some of these African, if you calculate the budget of some of these African countries, Nigeria's budget is the highest, the heftiest. But what are we achieving from this budget every year? How are they channeling this budget to? Towards education? If there's no how you focus your attention on education, that your country will not be prosper in terms of economic viability, because manpower will be surplus if your education system is sound. And the agri session too, I don't know what they are doing. Security, now we have security challenges concerning in the area of food security, because even in Benue, some part of Kaduna, if not now, taken over by bandits. You go to Zamfara and some of these countries within the north that produce food. Before, Benue was the food basket. It's still the food basket of the nation. Still a food basket of the nation. In spite of all the things, is Benue the food basket of the nation now? That is the question. Before now, a tuber of yam in Benue State, especially in the place where I come from, the local government, Benue State, a tuber of yam was not up to 1,000. But today, a tuber of yam, you can get it up to 7,000 to 8,000 naira for a tuber.
which is so high. Why? Because the supply is low.
Yes.
And when the moment the supply
is production,
low,
and it's so because the production is
supply is very low, while the demand for yam is high.
Quite high.
Because the few number of persons now farm can go to
that's what I was saying. So the reason for the supply to be low is because production is very, very low.
Very, very low.
As a result of insecurity.
As a result of insecurity. So some of these things we are not looking at it, and there's no food enough for Nigerians to feed. A country that cannot feed its citizens is not very shameful.
It is.
And again, if you look at it every year, if you ask our Minister of Education now to tell you how many Nigerians are in the university today, you will not have the data. The total number of Nigerians are in tertiary institutions, you may not have the data. And how many of them have graduated now? You may not have the data.
We don't have it.
How many are on ground now to go to NYSC? You may not have the data. And how many are there now in NYSC that will be coming out to labor market? You will not have the data. You may not have the data. And if you don't have all these data, how do you plan for your country? How do you plan? How do you plan? These are the problems that we have. All the attention, government appointment here in Nigeria and some African country is basically to go and better your life, not to go and better the life of the general masses. And democracy should be about service, should be about making life meaningful to the citizens. But as it is, this GDP, most people in government may not even know that our GDP have declined. Because they don't care about research. They don't care about what they think, what they on daily basis, what are the problem, what is the problem in this area, with the particular department where they are managing, how they will come up with problems and how to come up with solutions.
Yes.
The challenges facing their ministries is not their issue, but how they will travel and then gather duty to allowance to service themselves. While other Nigerians are suffering.
Well, looking at these things, really, while we were talking, you mentioned that 4% custom levy increase, that has happened. There is another group that has spoken against it. The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, has spoken, arguing that imposing such levy is not okay, that is detrimental to the businesses of Nigerians and even detrimental to Nigeria as a whole, the Nigerians as a whole, whether you're doing business or not. The association, in a statement that was signed by their Director General, Mr. Adewakun Smart Oyerinde, he was the one that said that that was on Sunday, argued that the levy had become burdensome since the nation's business environment is already burdened with multiple taxes, unpredictable policies, and economic challenges. You see, people may not understand, the ordinary person may not understand what that 4% will do. It will do a lot of harm to other people, because the good that you're adding that charge upon is what will be taken by the Nigerians when it is brought in, and that 4% will be included in the money that you have to pay.
Just 4%, they will add maybe 10% to you, the buyer, the consumer.
They will add a lot more
to the consumers.
Not minding that we're already going through so much stress to buy these things. So I think the government should think differently. That way they say thinking out of the box. The government should think differently, and that differently is return to industrialization in a different way. Not just, since you cannot bring the big companies from foreign countries to come in and establish in Nigeria. Like we've said on this program so many times, there is a lot of cashew in Kogi State. Why not get a cashew processing factory or even factories in Kogi, so that it will help? We will stop importing fruit juice from outside the country. There is a lot of mango wasting in Benue and Enugu states. In fact, if you see it, you will shed tears on a constant note as you see the way they just waste. Why can't this government bring in a food processing factory there so that they'll be working and people around there will be picking these fruits and bringing to them, being paid, making some money, you know, and that way they themselves will make theirs and produce, and it will go for people in the country to use. It's difficult. We've had even this same thing, just the same way you have these cashew in Kogi. So it is in Onubogu State. There used to be one factory near Oriri. You can call it Oriri, the way it was. They were there during the colonial masters period. They had a company there that was processing oil from all these things around there. But now that company, I don't even know whether the land that had that company has anything there anymore. You know, it's quite a shame that these things that the colonizers came in with, they left and we allowed those things to die. So how then would our economy improve? We need to get these things back. That's why it pains me. I keep saying that the day I will meet Dangote, I will ask him this question, because he had one beautiful fruit juice that he produced then. After a while, the thing just died away. I wanted to ask him whether he imported those things, because if he had the factory here, he would have been working up to now. Dancer, that's what the name was called then. I don't know. Why can't we have even small cottage industries for these people who are producing these things, so that we can have them, not even the big ones we're talking about today? Why can't we have these things in our country?
The problem is, you just mentioned it, unstable. How do you even put it? Something government policies.
Yes. Growing is unpredictable policies.
Unpredictable government policies scare investors away. When today your tax is in this amount, nobody knows. The moment another government takes over, what you do is increase in tax, and it will affect the business.
Yes.
So this unpredictable government policies is another serious problem facing Nigeria. That even the businesses on ground here, they are folding up and going back to their country. And if you go to bring new ones, they will say that the environment is not still conducive for them to come. And if it's not conducive for them to come, the next thing they do is to see how they will come and take these raw materials
and back to their home country to produce. That was a return to us, and we pay at exorbitant rates. And our leaders are happy
that they are bringing it, and custom is generating revenue. Is it not because the revenue increased? Federal revenue told the federal government that they have generated over about 4.something trillion from within 3 months or something like that.
Yes.
And for that reason now, the budget has been increased from 47.9 trillion to 54.something trillion naira.
Yes.
They are happy that the revenue is going up, and this revenue going up is coming from majorly imported goods.
Yes.
And these imported goods, who will bear the brunt? It's the consumers, who are Nigerians.
Yes.
A majority of them are not workers. Majority of them don't work. And that is the reason that you see the inflation we cannot manage it. We can't manage inflation because there is no how any businessman, any importer will go and pay this huge amount of money to custom and sell to you the same rate you think you have been buying it.
No.
The price will go up.
It's not for the Christmas. It's
at
not
all.
for the Christmas.
They are capitalists. They are not here to. They are bringing the product for you.
Yes.
And not that they like you. What they need from you is the capital that you are bringing for them. So this thing is a problem until our environment is conducive for businesses to thrive. But as it is now presently, the environment, the business environment in Nigeria is so harsh that it will be very difficult for any business to survive. And see, power section.
Supply, yes.
They are equally talking about increase in
the tariff. Yes, increase in the tariff.
The only area where we have a little reduction now is the petroleum sector.
Yes.
Where even Dangote has crashed his price.
The more from 900 to 800
from 1,000 something to
890 something.
90 something naira.
Right now.
You understand? But that is to say, if you go to Dangote refinery now to buy fuel at 800 and something, you take it to the far north here in Abuja here, you can sell no higher than 1,000.
1,000, yes, something between
below 910 naira or 900 and something naira. You understand?
Yes.
And that is what is going on now. And that one too has equally crashed the transportation fare.
Yes.
In Nigeria.
So we are hoping to get it down the more, because the commuters are still going through pains. But with that, it will help to bring down the transporters.
What Dangote has done now,
yes,
and those other marketers who are buying from other sources, they are equally buying at a lower rate, and Dangote has crashed his own. So, so I think between that is why you see the level of shout before. Hey, transport this that. It has reduced. It has reduced. It has but other sectors of the economy have to be looked into, and the basic area is industrialization. How to make industries survive. The harsh condition of our environment now is not good for industries, and the same way is not good for Nigerians. We are feeling the pain. The pain is so high, so much. Water, common water now. Pure water is very high to buy.
Yes, it's getting.
Before a bag of pure water was 150 naira. Now it's 500.
Not only, yes, of course. In actual fact, it began with 50 naira to 100 naira.
Bottle water that was 50 naira, 100 naira, now it's 250. In some places,
exactly.
300. So
the more painful thing about this water that is in the sachet is that, like the one I took this morning, the size of that sachet
not up to
has
60
been reduced, yes, and they are still letting it be that you see on the body 60 cl. These days you even find 40 cl, yet the price is going higher. I wonder where we are going in this country. The producers of this things should also consider.
We have to find a way to see how our institutions will be strengthened.
Yes, yes.
Because this price regulation too. Yes, that in a capitalist economy like Nigeria, every democratic nation, they are capitalist nation. There's no how government will have total control of prices of goods. You can't have total control of it, because already the market is free. And the way you are taking from these capitalists, these business owners, the same way, then too, they are taking from their patronizers.
Yes.
So government hands are tied in some cases.
Yes.
Government hands are tied in some cases, and the capitalists who are the one producing this and selling to us, then too, they are there to make profit, and government cannot shut them down, because they are taking so much from them. Look at communication. They say the tariff, NCC say the tariff should go 100%, I mean 50%. 50%.
The fellows, the practitioners wanted it to 100, but the NCC has said let it come to 50. The labor is saying it should not be more than 5. So we want to know how.
The only thing they can do is to be soft to them, because if you are harsh, the only way they put it, if you like, you don't make use of it. That's all. And from everywhere, anywhere I go, what I keep saying is, even government cannot be harsh on them, and labor cannot be harsh on them, because they have every justification to increase their price.
Yes, they are going through a lot.
They have every justification to increase their price.
In the process of
but the justification too, they should equally be looking at those who are patronizing them, who are the poor Nigerians. The higher the number of persons patronizing you, the higher your profit. Because if they jack up this tariff now, and majority of Nigerians drop their phones, how will you make the profit? Even of those who were able to, who have been buying a recharge card of, let's say, 1,500, now
they're buying 200,
100 naira, and the number of persons buying the 100 naira, 200 naira is not up to any substantial number.
And even the one that buys 1,000 will not let it last for 3 days instead of 1 day as it used to be.
I have a professor in my university that he said the only person he buy recharge card to call before was his mother. The mother died and he buried her on the 28th of December. He says, since my mother have died now, I have no reason to buy recharge card. If you like, call me. If you like, don't call me.
And that is what will happen to so many other people, because they reduce the call, you know, and they even reduce the duration when you call someone, and it will affect these companies.
And some of these network providers, they don't even have network in most states.
That's another problem.
In most states. So those Nigerians who have the joy of carrying 2, 3, 4 phones, they may even drop some network that doesn't have network in most areas. And the ones that have network, that is the one they will use. So the other ones now who are equally joining this agitation for increase in tariff, they will see that even majority of Nigeria will drop their SIM card.
That's correct.
You get it? Will drop there. So those are things that they have to strategically look into and see that the tariff hike is not much. Because if it's much, the way Nigerians will feel it, the same way, then too will feel it.
Yes, correct.
Most Nigerians will stop their patronage.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you so much, Richard Oriri. I must say that it's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
It's my pleasure, sir.
And how the time flies when we're together is something else. It's good. And I believe that my dear viewer has also enjoyed a bit of what we've shared. I want to say that something happened. There's this liquidity crunch that we're talking about. We've talked a bit of it at the earlier stage, but you see, it has forced Nigerian banks to borrow 1.2 trillion naira from the CBN in one single day. You see, Nigerian deposit money banks made a record single day withdrawal of 1.2 trillion naira from the Central Bank of Nigeria's standing lending facility, that is the SLF, you know, to cover a severe liquidity shortfall, according to the Trust Bank Financial Group Limited, you know. So this is something that we are going to expand. We'll talk about it later on the program as we go on, maybe in subsequent editions. But let's just see our country the way it is. Even these deposit banks are now borrowing from the central bank because of this liquidity crunch.
If you don't borrow, they will close your bank.
We need to think inwards seriously, think out of the box on what to do to make this nation a better place than we have seen it now. And one major way we must not forget to go is to do industries, small industries everywhere. Let there be production going on everywhere. It will help. It will help a whole lot. There are things we need to do to put things in order.
You should go and learn from Zoludo.
Yes, you know, and whatever it is that he is saying it should be, let's learn from him and let's get it on. Let's carry these things out. Well, this is how we'll be concluding for today. Thank you so much, Richard.
Always my pleasure, sir.
Doctor, thank you so much for being here, sir. Thank you so much,
thank
sir.
You, sir.
And dear viewer, this is why we'll be concluding for today what we've got. I wouldn't forget to say special thanks to the two victors that have worked with me today. I'm talking about Victor Chizea as well as the Victor in the editing. I want to thank you all. Victor Adeye, thank you so much for all that has happened. Okechukwu Onubogu here. I say, may the best happen to us always, even in this nation.